Okay, folks, so I want to share some interesting information here. This is that story of the U.S. Air Force pilot that exposes top secret chemtrail program. It's called Operation Indigo Skyfold. And chemtrail pilot blows the lid off of covert black Operation Indigo Skyfold. So this is kind of interesting to read, and it's from the Prepare for Change website. And they have an interesting disclaimer here where they say, we at Prepare for Change, PFC, bring you information that is not offered by the mainstream news, and therefore may seem controversial. The opinions, views, statements, and or information we present are not necessarily promoted, endorsed, espoused, or agreed to by Prepare for Change, its leadership council, members, those who work with PFC, or those who read its content. However, they are hopefully provocative. Please use discernment with an exclamation point. Use logical thinking, your own intuition, and your own connection with source, spirit, and natural laws to help you determine what is true and what is not. By sharing information and seeding dialogue, it is our goal to raise consciousness and awareness of higher truths to free us from enslavement of the matrix in this material realm. It's an awesome disclaimer that I wanted to share too. So anyway, this is interesting. U.S. Air Force pilot exposes top secret chemtrail program. It's called Operation Indigo Skyfold, and I'll put a link in the description for this particular article, and you can check it out for yourself if you want. It says, the following video expose is quite extraordinary by any standard. A secret chemtrail pilot speaks out for the first time in modern history. He reveals information that's so classified and data so radioactive, he surely risked his life by releasing it. This brave military pilot makes clear the false justification for the patently unlawful and highly toxic chemtrail spraying of skies across America that has been taking place for decades. National security. For years, many folks have asked, why do the chemtrail jet pilots participate in an atmosphere polluting program that's so harmful to both people and the planet? Answer: because they have been thoroughly mind controlled into believing their chemtrail emissions are undertaken to protect the American people. Always in the name of our own national security, right? It's for our own good. This is how deep state has always gotten away with so many deadly and destructive programs over the past century. They couch them within the fake context of national security. Right, yeah, like having to detonate to simulate an EMP, right? Oh, Lordy. In point of fact, nothing could be further from the truth. Chemtrail aerosols contain aluminum oxide, barium salts, strontium, and other poisonous chemical compounds that have no business being in our atmosphere. I agree. The name of this illicit chemical and geoengineering program is Operation Indigo Skyfold. Maybe my fellow pilots will read or hear about this and decide to come forward as well. Finally, a military pilot steps forward and completely blows the lid off the unlawful and exceedingly destructive global chemtrail program. What follows is a video which puts forth a true story about a courageous pilot who has broken ranks with his chemtrailing peers. There's not a video in this, I'm just going to read the script of what he said. So, in so doing, he has risked his life and the life of his family. As you listen to this presentation or read the text provided below, bear in mind that chemtrails are being sprayed 24/7 around the globe with terrible consequences. No matter what the stated reasons are given to those who fly the chemtrail jets, they are always told by their superiors that this ongoing and illegal atmosphere-altering program is being conducted in the interest of national security. Yeah, some of it is most likely providing cover as well for the NROL that has had planes and the MIC that has had different things drifting over us and flying above us, and they've been providing chaff with some of these projects too. You'll notice that national security appears crooked because the whole intention behind geoengineering is as dangerously misguided as it is deceptively false. The indiscriminate, wide area and systematic spraying of toxic aerosols throughout the skies of the world couldn't possibly have anything to do with national security, if only just to provide chaff, to create like smoke screens for like different installations and stuff, which I kind of can understand, but not everywhere. Come on, really? We know better. Those that buy into such a ridiculous notion have obviously been either brainwashed or bribed into believing such an absurd and nonsensical agenda. That's precisely why this unprecedented expose is so important. Never before has anyone directly involved with the piloting of chemtrail airliners ever gone public. Not only does Blue Jay 1, as he is known, go public, he completely blows the lid off of Operation Indigo Skyfold. This single act of identifying the name of what is perhaps the most destructive government program in recorded history is extremely critical. Why? Because it now gives the worldwide anti-geoengineering advocacy groups a target to hit within their own nations and governments. How, after all, could government officials and political leaders at every level, federal, state, county, and city, be so clueless about a massive aerosol spraying program that is going on in the skies right above them? The same thing with Senator Pete Goicoechea here in Nevada. How can you be so incredibly ignorant to just put forth a bill that would hand over $1 million to a cloud seeding program for their cloud seeding generators when you could see, he actually said it. He actually said it. When we see a storm front coming in, we need to seed it. And then he says, I don't know, I only know what the generators look like. If you want any technical data or any technical information, you're going to have to ask them about it, because I only know what the cloud seeding generators look like. Could you be any more ignorant? Doubt it. Anyway, can any responsible representative continue to plead such ignorance or indifference and get away with it? Yeah, Nevada, we're right here next to Cali. Y'all ain't seen what's been going on with California with their mudslides and everything? That shit's going to start happening here. And they keep building up housing on all these hills around us just so that they're going to slide right back down when they give us the monsoonal rains again, right? Like what moved through the other day. That's why this critical development is so huge, really huge. It is what we have all been waiting for, yet so few in the movement really get it, which is why this particular message has to be taken to the wider public. And for all we know, this could be propaganda too, folks, but all I know is I see stuff in the skies that would suggest that they are actually doing this. So there you go. And then I look up information from NOAA's Weather Modification Project reports, right? And I'm going to go into some more of that too, because I'm starting to compile a list. I'm getting sidetracked, I know. But, you know, we can look at these Weather Modification Project reports and the people that are filing them. This is them saying that they are using these generators. There's a continuation of a program that was from 1955 here. We have so many reports, and I'm doing a compilation of all of these different consulting agencies because there's so many weather modification consultants. And that right there can be abused so easily if you have too many ignorant representatives and too many ignorant Congress folks who just want to pocket some cash off of a situation, right? They can create a weather modification consultation group. I really wish there was some more oversight, or I had the means, because I would go around and actually check and see if these, like some of these that say, hang on, I'm getting sidetracked, I know, sorry. Like these ones here that say that they're using 15 ground-based cloud nuclei generators will be used, that they're using all these generators. I would love to have the means to just go around and actually do a count and just make sure that these are actually in operation and that these actually exist in real life, or are they just, you know, some of them just part of a shell weather modification consultation cover-up group. I mean, I gotta wonder. But anyway, yeah, back to this here. I'm gonna do another video yet on some more of those weather modification project reports from NOAA, because I want to find out some more information and do a bigger investigation into some of these weather modification consultation companies. So I don't know if that's something, if anybody has any time on your hands, you could look up weather modification consultants. This one here is the North American Weather Consultants. Look up weather modification consultants and see how many there are. There's a lot of them. And then to me, I think some of them could possibly be just shell companies that are just bilking, you know, $500,000-$600,000 a year. But anyway, I'll go back to this. That'll be another video I'll do some more on for sure. It's definitely interesting to look at the different reports. And when I look at the different reports and I look at the sky and I record what I've recorded, then I tend to believe that these kind of articles like this right here that I'm reading are not really propaganda necessarily. That they're actually based on some level of truth, because I can observe, and through other research I can put the twos and twos together and come up with 6 actually, which is surprising because a lot of people can't, which is sad. Anyway, because at the end of the day, every human being on every continent will really abhor 2 things about the now ubiquitous chemtrails. 1, chemtrails routinely transform warm sunny days into cool cloudy ones. Then they know it, that's science, right? No one likes to see their clear sunny days stolen after a couple of hours of chemtrailing. Day after day of overcast skies have profoundly changed many a locale which have traditionally experienced clear skies. Is there anyone who prefers damp, cloudy days to dry, sunny ones? Certainly, the people of Florida and California want their fun in the sun. So does the rest of the USA. Well, they're ruining that shit, aren't they? Chemtrails contain a mix of toxic chemicals and poisonous compounds such as barium salts, aluminum oxide, strontium, mercury, among many others, which eventually end up falling to Earth. The chemtrail mix of toxins inevitably leaves its residues on farm fields and forests, lakes and ponds, and lawns and gardens. And it's the same thing here in the valley, where they are being allowed to spray silver iodide freely, which is proven already to be toxic to aquatic life, but there's no toxic data available for human beings. Yeah, tell me that isn't true ignorance. How does one possibly stop the noxious chemicals from entering one's home and automobiles, office building, and shopping malls? Whoever wants a toxic chemtrail brew dropped on them every other day? Not me. I'm tired of it. I like having the rain, but I'd rather have natural forming rain. I would like for them to stop stealing our rain here from Nevada out there in California, because ultimately that's what they've been doing. They've been cloud seeding way longer than what's been going on here in Nevada. And ultimately, with all of those programs, every time they seed one of those storefronts that comes in and develops off of the coast, essentially California has been stealing Nevada's rain and Arizona's rain and everybody's rain east of the Sierra Nevadas. They've been stealing it because when they seed it, it forces it to drop rain down in regions before that natural forming cloud structure would have just traveled on. Maybe it might have dissipated, but maybe you could have saved a little bit for us on this side of the Sierra Nevadas, California. No, you got to do it up, though, so that you can have good mudslides and flash flooding that just makes people's lives miserable and destroy the land so that you can make it real good and cheap so that foreign investors can come in and rebuild it, right? Geoengineering has proven unequivocally to be extremely detrimental to both human health and the greater planetary environment. As for the many adverse health effects, the link below gives an excellent summary. Yeah, I'll try to find the link for this article and put it in there, but here's where the chemtrail pilot speaks out. He says, first of all, I would like to say that I do not agree with my mission assignments, but what soldier ever truly does. Several of us have considered bucking the ranks and going AWOL from time to time. We are kept in the dark when it comes to getting honest answers about what we are really spraying. Should they discover that we or our families are actively inquiring about the so-called chemtrails term, then automatic and swift disciplinary action would be taken. HAARP, H-A-A-R-P, we know, and radar are two other non-allowed research subjects. Unless our children are learning about these in basic schools, we cannot educate ourselves or our children through any public education system. I would not intentionally spray my children or family with toxic aerosols, but as you must know, perhaps 80% of the pilots do not have any family or children. Well, isn't that special? Indigo pilots are chosen from top ranks within the Air Force, Navy, and Coast Guard. Most of the pilots are hardened to humanity and could care less killing off unwanted or leeching aspects of America and the world. I swear to you, the majority of the pilots are like machines. I call them tanker terminators, in quotation marks. I should not be telling you this, but nearly 1/3 of all flights are being orchestrated from small, unnamed islands, where newly constructed bases are being built at a rate of 8 per year. On these extremely remote islands, there are HAARP arrays of every possible design, with many arrays surrounding these islands within the depths of the ocean itself. The Navy has developed sophisticated underwater construction technology that allows fully autonomous robot submersibles to travel great distances and even manufacture parts for these massive underwater arrays as they progress across the open seafloor. So, to anybody out there that thinks that there's aliens in the oceans, maybe it could be this possibility. I don't know, just saying. If you're seeing stuff coming in and out of the ocean too, could very well be related to these type of naval operations. I mean, is that even a possibility? Every time that you see or hear about military exercises at sea, they are basically there to give support and resupply to their army of underwater robotic minions. There is possibly one aquatic robot per plane, and will soon be double that. You will never be able to Google Earth or search any of this. Interesting, huh? You got everybody all looking up at the skies and stuff. Forget about the oceans, nothing to see there. Other than an occasional error in blurring some island bases or smudged images of underwater arrays, it is impossible to locate all these advanced technological devices. They even paint fake clouds over some of our island installations to keep prying eyes away. I've been shown some of these images by civilian friends. That is the reason I know this. I completely understand your concern for human safety, and here is the kicker. We are shown videos in our training of catastrophic destruction to our homeland by very sophisticated weapons, then told that these will be the consequences if we don't fly. Our efforts in building a defensive atmospheric weapons shield are the only mission of its kind in the world. We are paid more than any other pilot for our service, other than Air Force One pilots who make as much or more and are kept in the dark. Secret world for their own protection. They tell us that secrecy is our protection and not to listen to any public rhetoric. We all know about Cyber Program Flashpoint, or FP-03, as it is known within the veteran community. This program is a self-destruct sequence that can be remotely activated from any ground, water surface, underwater base, as well as any other air mobile unit. That the signal is encrypted through 3 satellites and cannot be jammed or blocked. At any given moment, you could have only 15 seconds to make your peace with God. They tell us that FP exists to keep planes from accidentally going down in heavily populated areas. They can remotely detonate our planes over safe zones, but in the back of our minds, we're pretty sure this is a fail-safe program to keep pilots from turning over assets to any public, private, or civilian authorities. So keep that in mind, folks. They can remotely detonate their planes over certain zones, right? Have you ever seen any member of the crew survive the few crashes that have occurred? Every plane that has gone down was completely destroyed, for good reason, I am sure. We risk our lives in more ways than one, every single time we fly, especially during night flights. They are ordering us to fly at lower and lower altitudes. We feel like a massive dark force empire of crop dusters and know that one night, Bubba or Billy Joel will fire their long rifles at us when we spray their moonshine-making operation or pass over an illegal Mary Jane crop. Oh yeah, they have definitely been lowering that ceiling. They have definitely been flying and doing these missions and projects much lower in our atmosphere. That's probably why I've been able to capture a lot of it and seeing what I'm seeing, is because they've lowered their testing ceiling and they've lowered their testing field, right? I know for a fact that some planes have been shot at and subsequently brought down by mostly Russian, Chinese, and Korean weaponry, but the media will never cover these events as they are not allowed to report on our flights either. That must be true, for I have yet to see a detailed or in-lengthy report of our missions on any public venue other than conspiracy shows and anti-government websites. Yeah, I've seen some of the videos that show some of these satellite systems that have crashed in other countries. I keep telling my husband, please let them crash something here in our property, just as long as nobody here gets hurt or anything like that. I just want a piece of it, you know? Interesting. I risk everything for disclosing so much information, and you will find very few like me. Even my own flight crew would have me arrested and court-martialed if they knew of this dialogue. That is why I cannot email you directly, but from what your cousin tells me, you are also risking everything just to get this information out to your colleagues. I salute you, sir, for standing up to the establishment and Big Brother. I would love to go home tomorrow and not rack up one more single minute of flight time, except for a sweet little Piper Cub or rat-tail barn racer. I miss those beautiful blue skies from my youth, and I am ashamed for hazing over that dream. More importantly, maybe my fellow pilots will read or hear about this and decide to come forward as well. I only know a small fraction of the larger picture as they compartmentalize everything. Should I become aware of any new significant developments, I will email your cousin. Yeah, speaking of the compartmentalized, that's the word I was trying to use when I was describing how they've put together this whole NOAA website where they can file these project reports, and then you have the weather consultants and all that too. They've really compartmentalized all of that, so that you have to go through many different levels to really get to the people who are actually in charge of this shit. Should I become aware of any new significant developments, I will email your cousin. The man I have contact with says he senses a wavering within the ranks, and that a kind of mutiny is beginning to boil to the surface of this whole geoengineering global whitewashing, if you catch my drift. I hope so. My cousin still has friends in high places too, so he's helping to protect the pilot. And there, I've captured that too many times. In fact, I have another part of my video presentation that I was just putting together. And it's going to have stuff to do with the space-based solar too, so that shows some of this. Yeah, that's just... Yeah, I've captured that so many times here in Nevada. This, all of this. I've been just getting away with it for way too long. Enough is enough. Yeah, there we go. You can play some tic-tac-toe, everybody. I've seen these circles. I've captured this kind of effect before. Last word from the pilot, and I quote, "All pilots on leave are required to report to their CO by December 15th for special training operations to qualify for Indigo Phase 2 flights, expected to be initiated by January 21st. Those were his words, not the actual Air Force message. He wanted me to stress that. He believes that the focus of their flights will be moved to areas east of California and Texas in order to advance the drought further into the heartland. Oh yes, and they are putting Nevada through the ringer here. We are getting dried out so bad, and they've got so many people snowed into removing all of our green spaces and everything. I mean, following just categorically all of the steps that it would take to make this place even more dangerous to live in and inhabit, making us more prone to flash flooding, making us more prone to sinkholes when it does rain and when it does flood us out, making us prone to mudslides, wildfires. We're more apt to dry out faster by these measures that our conservationists are taking, and it's pretty sad to see how ignorant they are. Anyway, it says he believes that the focus of their flights will be moved to areas east of California and Texas in order to advance the drought further into the heartland. Plus, he feels that a very new and extremely toxic chemtrail mix is going to be sprayed, using new technology that makes these special chemtrails completely invisible. Now, I've seen what I would categorize as magic contrails, where there's been no planes, when I haven't seen any planes coming through, but clearly there's vapor trails. So, and then they just magically appear on the camera, right? Atmosphere shield of protection. He doesn't believe that either, so that is the end of the message from this chemtrail pilot. From my own experience, I've had a lot of contact with this guy for 6 months via the internet, and basically everything he told me has turned out to be true, so I have no reason to doubt any of this and hope you forward it. This also points out how difficult it is to fight this program, because people inside the program are not subject to public opinion or exposed to public information sources. Therefore, we need to brainstorm and come up with a way to shut down this program, as it is actually heating the planet and killing everything with elevated UV rays and toxic metals. Thank you for listening. The conclusion here says, an active chemtrail pilot has quite courageously stepped out of the shadows at great risk to his career and his life. Such a sacrifice ought to compel the fast-growing community of anti-chemtrail advocates to disseminate his much-needed message. Raising the worldwide awareness around this pilot's unprecedented disclosures seems essential towards shutting down the current form of global engineering. Yeah, I would like to see hearings and more done about this whole thing here, rather than UFOs and supposed 7-foot-tall aliens. Please, I would rather see hearings on this kind of stuff, right? Operation Indigo Skyfold has been outed. We now know its name. We now know how it works. We have been informed that it is being expanded in 2015 and is now more dangerous than ever. So, I'll put a link in the description to this article if anyone's interested in reading it or sharing it and passing it on. But we definitely need to do something, especially now, since they're really putting forward a lot of money into more of these space-based solar things, like what I was showing. And, that's really going to make things really dangerous. If we continue and just ignore and keep allowing them to put up these space-based systems and drift them up over our heads, they're going to be using this stuff to direct energy even more. And I tell you what, there was all these groups of people that kept on putting forward all of these predictions and all of these horrible things that were going to happen. And everything pretty much that has happened has been something that has been initiated and manipulated and interfered by these weather warfarians and these climateers. And they need to stop. It's just ridiculous how much they're able to get away with. But I think I'll do another video to show some of the information that I've compiled already on the number of weather modification consultation groups and consultants out there. And if I can get any help or solicit any help from anybody to do more of an investigation in how many there really are, and if you live in a state where your state is paying a weather modification company to do weather modification in your state, you have a right to know all of that information, and you can ask it and you can request it. And if you have the capability to actually go out and search, like if you have a drone or anything, you can search and try to find where some of these generator stations are and actually document whether or not they actually exist. Like, I mean, I would love to be able to go through and actually do an audit, like a physical audit on this North American weather consultants here, just to see if they really do have 15 ground-based nuclear generators, and if they are really doing exactly what they say. I mean, there really needs to be some oversight, But anyway, this video is long enough. I'm going to go into some more about this as well, this report to Congress. I just can't remember exactly where it was that I left off. I think that I had left off on the major findings and the item 2. But I need to go back through the videos and see for sure. But this video here is long enough. I just wanted to share this Operation Indigo Skyfold. And again, if I can come across the links will be in the description or in the comments. And I appreciate you watching. Please stay tuned. There's definitely more to come if I can help it. And just know that I really, truly appreciate any and all allies and anyone that's willing to learn about and read up on this information and have any interest in it. you know, you're my kind of peeps, and I'm glad you're hanging around on my channel, and I appreciate you. Just